that the FBA stuff scares Africans sometimes because
It
we feel like we're being left behind. Maybe delineation is not that good for us Africans.
Of course, people are freaking out because everybody eats off of us. We are supporting different groups in this country with $2 trillion. That is more than most countries' economy. With $2 trillion, we could go and start a whole nother country in another land or in America if we fought and we won and have a thriving economy. So let's get into it. The small hats make billions off of us through music, through sports, through entertainment. You know how many sports agents are small hats that we give all our money to? Do you know how many small hats that use our music, murder music? And if you don't believe me, go listen to 90s music and listen to our music now. That take our music and capitalize off of that. Let's talk about sports. I think I talked about sports. I said sports, music, film, TV, all these things. They make so much money off of us. Okay. Let's move on to the Arabs and the Asians who put their businesses in our.
We still cool, ain't no problem. You know what I mean? No problem with you. I mean, we don't hate y'all. Like, I don't know what I'm feeling like they're trying to think we hate. We don't hate y'all now. You know what I'm saying? Y'all still our cousins. You know what I mean? On the other side. But, fam, the fact of the matter is y'all are a detriment to us. You know what I mean? You've proven that you're a detriment to us. Okay? Like, you've proven you can't be trusted. You've proven you might just be the enemy. You know what I mean? And I know it ain't all of you, okay? I'm gonna tell you, I always gotta put that disclaimer in there. I know it ain't all of you, but boy, you ones that get up enough money to get over here, y'all make sure y'all run for office. Y'all make sure your goal and your mission is to undermine what the fuck we got going on over here. You get what I'm saying? So, nah, no. But I appreciate you letting us know, that you needed to use us all this time. You know what I mean? Even though you didn't want to help us. I'm glad you came out and said what it is. Truth shall be real. You know what I'm saying? Truth shall be real.
African versus U.S. black versus Caribbean black versus Canadian black versus Antarctica black. I don't have facts to prove that. We everywhere. Arctic black. If you allow that narrative to exist within you, you're participating in dismantling who we're supposed to be in this world, y'all. Rich and I are no less dedicated to the black community in the U.S. than we are to the black community in Africa and in the Caribbean and in Europe. And the fact that our descent is African and your descent might be different does not mean that we can't represent all. And we're not fighting for all. And we keep letting this narrative exist in the world. I told y'all this is me. If you were calling me, this is how it would come out, y'all. And I'm going to tell you why I'm triggered on that in a second. Anybody can believe what they want to believe. What I need the world part of this to do is to proactively dismantle the part of that conversation that is about if you ain't a black I certify, you don't deserve to help make black better.
How people see it. Like,
right. It shouldn't be like that. And that's
it's a threat.
true.
It's a threat to us.
It shouldn't be because people delineate from us.
But it wasn't like this in the past, like 10, 20 years ago. We're all just black. But now everybody's delineating, even Africans themselves.
Yeah, they let us know because we would be told by many Africans, Somalians, and Ethiopians. They would run around telling us, we ain't black, we're Somalian. We ain't black, we're Ethiopian. We ain't black, we're Nigerian. They would tell us that. And we're like, okay, is that what we're doing? And then when, they start coming up with little names like Abids, Jarirs, Akadas, little stuff like that, we let it slide for a long time. And then after a while, we say, you know what? A lot of these folks are getting into political positions where they're undermining us. So, we're going to have to draw a line in the sand and say, okay, we're going to have to start getting a head count on who's who, who's down. We're not going to sit here and have a big kumbaya party until we vet people. We're just getting some proper straightening. That's it.
But the biggest fear is, as Black Americans are delineating, and America as a country is doing the same thing. They're coming after us. Donald Trump got elected. Immigrants are scared. So now Black Americans are doing their own thing. At the time, we're hoping that they would be standing up for us, being part of our coalition. But
yeah, and that's the problem.
We don't know what to do now.
Yeah, because we told people, cats should have really checked themselves with the disrespect.
So how about we have a restart, man? Black Americans and Black immigrants, we forget everything in the past. We start a new contract. We put the disputes and all this stuff to the past and just have a fresh start. Respect each other, respect each other's cultures, work together where we can work together. Let's try to work on that. I'm ready for that.
Well, the thing is, man, it's going to have to start back in the homeland. It has to start there because a lot of people bring over the same tribalistic disposition that they had over there. They bring it over here and they look at us as just another tribal group. And that's not going to work.
The delineation movement has disrupted a lot of study, disrupted a lot of money that they have spent on market research, with politics, etc. Let's go there. So they spend a lot of money with researching our community, researching our voting patterns, researching where we stay, researching, what we listen to, researching what we wear. It's always something they're spending money on with us. And in their worldview, they have to have us as a monolith. You understand what I'm saying? That Black America has to say, okay, well, we all Black and that's it. When Black Americans have delineated, you don't understand how that has messed up everything for them. Now they're gonna have to go spend money again trying to study the delineation movement, how it came about, what's being said, what's not being said, what's going on, etc. It's messed up a lot of money there. They're going to spend more money on more research. Think tanks going to have to spend more money on a whole lot of things discussing us. Now, we're not saying that, okay, if you go get a Barack Obama, he's Black. Now we're saying, no. He's not a freedman. His lineage comes, he's not us.
Some immigrants are now openly discussing why they are concerned about Black Americans becoming more vocal about their boundaries, political interests, economic priorities, and national identity. And the question is simple: why is the conversation creating so much tension? Because this isn't about immigration, it is about citizenship, economics, identity, political power, and who gets to define their place in America.
Another thing that they don't like anything that's going to promote Black American unity. They don't like that because no one had a meeting. Nobody had say, this is what we're going to do. It just went and happened at one time. And they're like, well, man, who's the leader of this? There's no leader. That's another issue that they have. See, it's easy when it's a leader movement because strike the shepherd, the sheep will scatter, or corrupt the shepherd, and then we can get everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's better to corrupt a person and have them there, pay them off or do whatever, and just keep them underneath control. Now, with delineation, there's no one figure they could say. There's no Martin Luther King figure you can go to or Malcolm X figure you can go to and say, well, he's the leader. This is why they even try to say certain people are leaders, right? And the wise thing to say is, no, I'm not a leader of nobody. I'm not leading anything. This is what is going on. This is, the people are just saying that we're going to look out for our community, our lineage, etc. We love everybody that's going to treat us right. But hey, we got to look out for self right now. And they know from history that when Black America look out for ourselves, we get things done. Black Wall Street happened because we were with each other, working together, and on one accord.
Harsh truth that Black people, Black Americans need to cope with. Every immigrant group sees themselves as higher than you. Regardless of their success being founded on the civil rights of your ancestors, each and every immigrant group put themselves above you. When you start to realize that, you will stop this coalition of black and brown, this DEI representing the whole of all black people's struggles. That is not the truth. In order for there to actually be a coalition, there has to be a realization. And then there has to be evaluation. Meaning that you have to realize they don't like you. You have to separate yourself, delineate, separate yourself so they can see your value. Once they see your value, then a coalition can be had. Right now, they're benefiting from your work without appreciating you. This is why you have black Americans talking about delineate. It has nothing to do with hate. It has nothing to do with hate, but a recognition that you don't value me. You don't respect me. As such, now if this was your friend, everybody talks about, protecting your energy. That's exactly what delineation is, protecting your energy. So, I hope this child verdict and these people on the internet are helping you to realize that there is no coalition between black and brown. This month it's Asians speaking out on how they feel about black people in the neighborhoods that they're put in. 2 months ago, it was African immigrants speaking out about how they feel about black people. How much more proof do you need?
Let's be clear from the beginning. This discussion is not about saying every immigrant thinks the same way. That's simply not true. We are talking about a growing debate online where individuals are expressing their own opinions about Black Americans becoming more deliberate and protecting their interests. And once you understand the distinction, the conversation becomes much more interesting because historically, Black Americans have often been expected to participate in America's broader political conversation without necessarily demanding that their own interests receive the same level of attention. So that appears to be changing. One of the biggest issues here is political identity. Immigrants can come to America with their own cultural traditions, national identities, communities, and political priorities. That is completely normal. But Black Americans are also increasingly asking a very important question. What specifically benefits us? That's not an anti-immigrant question. It's a question about political representation. It's a question about economic opportunity, and also it's a question about whether public policy should consider the historical circumstances of communities that has been a part of American history for generations. So when people start asking these questions, the conversations can become uncomfortable, especially when different communities discover that they don't automatically have identical interest. And that is where the idea of delineation comes in. Delineation simply means creating a clearer distinction. In this case, Black Americans appear to be saying we can support immigration debates without pretending that every group has the same history, circumstances, or priorities. That is a significant skill in the conversation. Now, let's talk about the economic side, because this is where the discussion gets even more complicated. Immigration policy affects the labor market, housing, wages, government spending, education, healthcare, and business. Those are not abstract issues, and they are real economic questions that affect millions of people. And whenever immigration increases, competition for jobs, housing, or limited public resources, different communities can have very different perspectives. That doesn't automatically mean one group is against another. It means people are looking at the same policy through different experiences, and this is where commentary needs to be more sophisticated than simply saying immigrant versus Black Americans. That's too simplistic. The real conversation is about policy, about legal status, citizenship, on economic opportunity, immigration enforcement, and it's about how government decisions affect different communities. Those are legitimate subjects for public debate. But here is the part I find especially interesting. When Black Americans become more organized about their own interests, some people seem to be surprised by it. Why? For decades, there has been a major emphasis on coalition politics. Different minority groups are frequently encouraged to view themselves as a part of one broad political bloc. But political coalitions only work when the members actually believe their interests are being represented. So if one group starts saying, wait a minute, what about us? That doesn't necessarily destroy the coalition. It can force the coalition to become more honest. And that is potentially what we are seeing now. Black Americans can acknowledge the experiences of immigrants while still discussing their own concerns about immigration policy. So those two are mutually exclusive. You can recognize an immigrant's personal struggle without agreeing with every immigration policy. You can support legal immigration while believing that immigration enforcement matters. And you can respect immigrants as individuals while still asking difficult questions about economic policy and national priorities. That is what a serious political conversation looks like. So when you hear immigrants discussing why they fear or worry about Black Americans drawing clearer boundaries, don't immediately reduce the conversation to racism or hostility. Look deeper. Ask what they are actually responding to. Is it political independence? Is it changing voting behavior? Is it economic competition? Is it a disagreement over immigration policy? Or is it simply the realization that Black Americans are becoming more willing to openly discuss their own interests? Because the last possibility is important. A community becoming more politically conscious doesn't automatically make that community anti-anyone else. It can simply mean they are paying closer attention to policy, representation, economic opportunity, and the direction of the country. And that is exactly why this conversation deserves more emotional reactions. It deserves serious analysis. Immigration is obviously complicated. So the bigger question here is, what happens when a community that was once expected to simply participate in the conversation decides it wants to help define the conversation? Share your thoughts in the comments section and kindly remember to keep it respectful. If you want breakdowns like these, hit the subscribe button and join our family. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.